Welcome to a brand new episode of the Content Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Witnish. Today's conversation is around short form content creation and how this style of content is going to drastically contribute to the success and growth of your brand and business in the short term to immediate future. And if you're not sure what constitutes short form content, just head over to TikTok, look at Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts. I'm referencing those sub 60-second video clips that are omnipresent on just about every social media platform right now. We need to understand why this style of content is prioritized by the algorithms on different feeds. If you look at the human attention span, it's continuously shrinking, which makes sense because there's more and more noise competing for our attention than any other time in history, and there's only going to be more noise in the future. So that will keep trending down. The last time I looked at the stat, and I can't remember the source, the average human attention span was 8.25 seconds. And alongside that, there's every other content creator, business and brand on the same social media platform also vying to get that person to stop scrolling in their newsfeed and consume what's in front of them. The great thing about short form content is it's going to make you very good at your delivery. It's going to make you a great marketer because you have to build intrigue to get someone to stop in their tracks and open up the post or press play on the video and then hold their attention for that 60 seconds or less to deliver value. So over time, as you start creating short form content, you're going to get better and better and better. And 12 months, 24 months down the track, you're going to become a phenomenal marketer because this skill set is transferable into just about anything you do, whether it's copywriting, emails, posts, advertising, etc. So it's going to build a really solid marketing muscle for you. Now, there are a few advantages to short form content, especially if you're early on in the journey of building your brand or your business. It has the ability to get a ton of reach in less than 24 hours starting from scratch. So even if you don't have a follower base, so it rewards people that can get the intrigue right, they can hold attention, they can get the tags and the posting times right, which is what we're going to talk about. So understand that if you're starting from a low base, this can actually build up your reach and get you in front of an audience faster than any other content formats. When we look at long form content, and I get the irony that this podcast episode is in fact long form content, and I'm talking about short form content. But with long form content, there's generally an SEO or search component built into it because we want people that are actively looking to go deep into consuming content for an extended period of time. So you'll be doing a lot of meta strategies, which is where you use specific keywords that people are searching for to appeal to the different search engines, and then you need the qualities of having highly valuable and engaging content to get people to consume that long form content. So with short form content, generally we're talking to one thing at a time, delivering the value, and that's it. And the structure that I want to give to you for this is around intrigue, title, thumbnail, and tags, and posting time. So there's 4 elements that are going to make the performance of short form content count. So if you can write a title that piques someone's curiosity where they can't scroll past it, they have to press play and close the loop or learn what you're alluding to, that's step number 1. You can have the best video, but if you don't have any intrigue built into that opening sentence or that title, people aren't going to press play on it, and the algorithm's going to go, people aren't interested in this, we're not going to show it to more people. So that's the really important first step. And to get good at creating intrigue, you can simply scroll through your own newsfeed on social media and go, which pieces of content are getting me to stop in my tracks? You can go to a platform like YouTube Shorts and reverse engineer successful channels, creators, videos that have had millions of views, and look for the attributes and qualities in those videos and those channels that have got people's attention and also got them to watch the entirety of the video, because generally speaking, it's not going to get shown to more and more people unless people are consuming that whole piece of content. So you'll get your own recipe with time for what gets your content to perform. And once you have a title, an upload time, or a topic that performs well, you want to keep duplicating that strategy and formula over and over again. You just adapt it or tweak the title, but using the same structure each time. I did a short form piece of content during this week It was 90% of copywriting success comes down to this one thing. And the audience were people that are searching and looking for copywriting tips. So if you're looking for that and someone puts a video that says 90% of success comes down to this one thing, there's probably going to be a level of intrigue to want to know what that is. And then ideally, if I deliver and answer that question in the short form content, I've held up my end of the bargain, which is really important because you can use clickbait to get people to open up content. But if it doesn't deliver on the promise that was in that title or speak to that, then the audience isn't going to be very satisfied with their trade of attention in that scenario. So you want to build intrigue, but you also want to make sure you're addressing and solving the promise or answering or closing the loop that was built up in that intrigue in the piece of content. So you can have a very simple formula: one problem, one solution, whenever you're creating a short form video. And it could be 10-second video, it could be 20 seconds, it can be all the way up to that 60-second mark. But if you just focus on one problem, one solution, so you're addressing challenges that your target audience has and you're giving them an answer to help them get a breakthrough or move past that particular problem, you're going to win very quickly, but also be seen as a destination or an expert to solve problems in that space, which is why I think niching really helps. If you're speaking to really specific problems, you're going to be a lot more valuable to your audience. The trade-off is you're probably not going to have as big an audience or as wide a reach than if you're in a broad topic. So for example, if someone goes, I was attacked by a shark, here's what happens, that can go viral because just about anyone probably wants to know what happened in that story. So they click and open it up, and you'll see some of the biggest creators in the world right now, like Mr. Beast. His content has mass appeal. He does videos that appeal to just about anyone and uses all those elements, intrigue, the thumbnail to get attention, and understands all the elements that we're speaking about, but he's trying to get millions and millions of people to be his audience. If you're a personal brand or you're in a niche, you got to understand that going viral is less likely to happen because you're dealing with a very narrow set of problems. Now, you might get an opportunity where a tool like ChatGPT comes along in November and it gets millions and millions of users and members very quickly, and it becomes a trending topic, but it ties back into your subject matter of expertise like it could with content marketing. So that's an opportunity where if I had adopted and jumped on that when it was one of the hottest topics being searched around the world, that's when you can go viral but still have it relevant to your niche. So you understand that by niching, you're going to get a high quality audience, but it just might not be as big as if you're in a very general space like comedy or entertainment that has much broader appeal. However, we can usually monetize in niches and get clients and customers and build our businesses as a byproduct of that. So there's plenty of upside for those of us that are staying in our lanes. So let's go back in. I got a little bit sidetracked there, back into what's going to make your short form content successful. Now, the great thing about creating these sub 60-second clips is they can go across multiple platforms. So you get the one piece of content, it's going to perform well on TikTok, it's going to perform well on Instagram and Facebook Reels, it's also going to perform well as a YouTube short. So one effort that doesn't take long can get success on any one of those platforms. And even if it flops and doesn't get a lot of traction on, say, TikTok, it might go really well on YouTube. So the copywriting short that I didn't go very well on Instagram. It went okay on TikTok compared to my average performance, but it performed better than normal on the YouTube Shorts platform. So you get to see different styles and different topics have different results on your different channels, which is exciting because there are different audiences and people go there to those channels for different reasons. So the great thing is you get to build audiences in different places from that same effort of creating that sub 60-second video, which is really powerful. Now, there's a few things you'll notice if you go to the majority of creators' short form content. They're usually fast moving and there's captions. And that's to cater to that 8.25 second attention span. So if your video isn't moving fast with the screen constantly flashing, people tend to not be able to hold their focus and move away. But if the screen's moving, things are flashing up, it's one way of increasing retention and getting more engagement. So that's why that strategy is implemented. So one way that you can get captions is you can take your video, once you've got it, head over to rev.com and get a transcription or a caption file and put it on the video. We have editors in-house. They do the editing and add the captions to my shorts for me. So I show up and shoot a sub 60-second clip and they'll go and do all the captions for myself. We also do that service for clients as well. So we'll extract their genius on relevant content ideas, cut it into those 30, 40, 50-second clips, and then the editors will put all the captions on it so you make sure we're optimizing for performance. Let's go back to some of those variables that will give your content every chance of getting as much reach as possible. So we touched on it a little bit earlier. We know about the intrigue and the titles and the thumbnails, but let's talk about the tags. So tags are to help come up in relevant searches that people are looking for on different social media platforms. Then the second part to that is posting at active times. So when is your target audience most likely to be using TikTok, to be using Instagram, to be on YouTube? And all these 1%ers can make a big difference. The time your content goes up, if there's more eyeballs available, there's more chance that people are going to engage and consume it, which means it can tell the algorithm that people want this piece of content and show it to more people, which is part of unpacking this and giving yourself every chance of getting optimal performance. So you want to do research on the hashtags that you can use each time you're uploading short form content. A great resource for this is Best Hashtags. I think it's best-hashtags.com, and you can just give it a primary hashtag that you would use in your niche. So I could take the content marketing hashtag, put it in, press enter. It's going to give me the top 10 hashtags in relation to content marketing that I could use if my short form content is relevant to that. And I can use that to come up in more searches that people are running on social media platforms. So some people follow specific hashtags or they go look for that specific style of content. And if you put them in, then you increase your chances of being shown in those specific searches. So that's why we use tags. Understanding the active times that your audience is on social media, you can use common sense in a lot of cases. So if your audience is primarily in your country and you're in a specific niche, go, when are they not likely to be using their devices? And when are they most likely to be going deep? And in a lot of cases, people will be scrolling and on social media in the evenings. A lot of platforms will say sort of 7 to 9 p.m. at night are good times to post. Specifically, Instagram tends to give that feedback a lot. If you're on the LinkedIn platform, that's where it might be a little bit different. So you want to understand, using common sense, when is my target audience most likely to be online, say on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok. Now, YouTube's probably a different one because it can have global appeal. It's a search engine. And I noticed that my best times to upload to YouTube from the data is actually at 12 a.m. in the morning. And that's probably because a lot of the US or the overseas audiences are active then. Whereas on TikTok and on Instagram, it's generally in that evening after work hours are when the optimal times are. So just by posting when there's more eyeballs, using the right tags, and then following that intrigue, and then of course having great content, that's how you optimize for performance and give it every chance to get to thousands of people, even if you don't have many followers. And if you just follow those basic principles, you get better and better with your content, you get sharper with your delivery, you understand the intrigue frame, and you start to learn which topics your audience are responding to. You can start to cultivate a strategy that you can go to any time to get success. I know there's particular topics that I'll get lots and lots of reach. One of them isn't super relevant to my niche. It's about whenever I talk about the impact that I quit alcohol nearly 2 years ago, when I talk about that in short form content, and I obviously try and tie it back to make it relevant to performance and content, how I show up, consistency, all those things, those short form pieces always get 10,000 plus reach. And I know that they're going to perform particularly well. And I've known that the copywriting topics tend to go pretty well as well. Talking about short form content is another area that performs really well. So you'll get this hot list of topics that you can keep going to anytime that you know generally get pretty good reach, and you just post at the exact same time, use the exact same tags, use a very similar heading with variation on it, and just have a different problem that you solve or teach a different result in relation to that topic, and keep going back to them. And down the track, 12, 24 months, 36 months down the track, you might have these 20 topics that you can just looping back to every time that you know perform really, really well every single time you do them, and just follow that structure for success. So I'll finish off with a way to batch and create bulk short form content from a single effort. I have drawn upon this many times in other episodes, but I'll just reiterate it if you're stumbling across the podcast and you haven't gone deep into earlier episodes. So if you want to create a platform where you just show up for 30, 60, 90 minutes a month, you can do a little research. You can head over to Google Trends to find trending topics in your niche, put in a keyword, and it'll give you that information. I use a tool called vidIQ to see what people are looking for on platforms like YouTube and TikTok. There's also the Google keyword tool where you can see what people are searching for in your niche, and that can give you relevant and trending content ideas that you can talk about in the following month. So you might have a list of 10 bullet points that are going really well in your subject matter of expertise right now based on searches and trends, etc. And you can just get an iPhone out, you can get a webcam out, you can jump on Zoom, however you want to do it, and you can have them as bullet points and just start talking into the camera. So look at the bullet point, off you go, talk about that topic, maybe think about one problem in relation to that or one comment, hit record and just start talking, and just film it and keep the camera running. And you might go through each of those points, and then you've got 30, 60 minutes worth of footage. If you want to systemize that and get short form content, then you can send it off to an editor if you've got the resources to do that, and they can cut your 10 or 12 clips for the month ahead from that footage, then add the captions to it. It's a service that we also provide as well. Our team, we can do that for you if it's something that you feel will contribute to your success. But if you're wanting to do it yourself for your own resources, create that format where you only have to show up once a month, once a fortnight, whatever it is, rather than keep doing it on the fly. Of course, you can do more and more content throughout the month, but having that consistency where you know every single month you're going to get X amount of content done, get it out at optimal times and show up, because that consistency is what's going to build your following, build your brand, build your audience over time. So film it, find a quality editor that can cut the clips, put the captions on, and then just follow what I mentioned about putting the intrigue in the title, the hashtags, and making sure you're posting at active times to get the performance across those different platforms. So that's one way to batch it and make sure you're doing it consistently every single month and not getting that block or going, oh, I haven't done my short form content for 3 days. I need to, and I've got no space in the calendar. Just create that platform that makes it easy to keep showing up and getting the result.